Pitch black is something we actually look forward to up in Tyndall. It's our home base, as you said, so having visiting squadrons come here is actually really nice. The integration this year has gone well, the same as it normally does. We're also hosting at RAAF base Tyndall here, the 27th Fighter Squadron with the F-22s. The big takeaways that I've got from previous evolutions of Pitch black is the personal relationships we make. It's surprising how in 3 or 4 years' time, the same sort of people keep resurfacing, and to have a personal interaction with all the different nations that are participating is actually really, really beneficial. When we reach out and want to either do exercise participation with them in the future or just need to do some kind of level of interoperability, having a face to the name is actually really important. And so things like Pitch black give us a great opportunity for that. Yeah, to execute the flights, it's quite nuanced and there's quite a lot of detail that goes into these things. So it's not as easy as just sort of turning up and expecting to be able to fly and be interoperable from the start. So all through the planning iterations up to the execution of Pitch black, that's been considered. But then for the aircrew to actually sit through the mission commander briefs, go through the detailed level of planning, then go out and execute and come back and then learn some valuable lessons in the debrief is always great. There's a lot of aircraft participating, which presents its own challenges in terms of executing safely, tactical domestic phases of flight and things like that. And so for some of our aircrew, it's a really good opportunity to build their flight leadership skills, but also to get to interact and just see how the other nations do business. And in a lot of cases, it's surprising how aligned we all are. And so the ability to do that, demonstrate it, and then take away the lessons, I think has been really valuable. The Mission Commander Brief, which is where all of the participants will be a part of it, that's a good few hours, 3 or 4 hours before the actual flight starts. The aircrew will then go and brief as a formation, and then from there they'll get authorisation to go flying. It takes around about an hour to go and get all your flight gear on, sign for the aircraft, check the aircraft's good to go, start it up and get airborne. We're joining the airspace from Tyndall. Most of the participants are joining from Darwin, so there's some routing requirements to get to what we would call the marshal, so we all get ready to go. And then depending on the mission type and the training objectives for that mission type, the aircraft will push in. There'll be a notional blue and red force. The blue force is the focus for the mission, and their training objectives are scripted to make sure that we drive those lessons home. They'll push through the mission, normally takes about an hour to hour and a half. There may be some air refueling involved and stuff like that, and then come back. The debrief normally starts 2 to 3 hours after the flight has ended, and so it's a full day. It'll take 8 to 10 hours of your day to do the brief, debrief and the flight. We've had F-22s operate out of RAAF base Tyndall previously. Normally Alaska squadrons have come. So I wouldn't say it's a well-trodden path, but it's not that abnormal now for the F-22 crews. Proximity is helpful. That's probably the only downside, I guess, from operating out of Tyndall when Pitch black's being executed. You know, we have people travel up there for briefs and interactions and things like that, but having them operate out of essentially the same operations buildings and stuff as us buys you a little bit more of that personal interaction that I sort of talked about before. But it's relatively seamless. They've situated themselves in some of the buildings that we've reserved here at Tyndall for visiting squadrons or other forces, and that's been pretty easy for them. They've got basically full access to our operations building here as they need it. They're parked in what we used to park in, so we're now on our flight line operations, but we used to be in the OLAs out there. We use those occasionally, but the F-22s are using them at the moment. The one thing it does help with a lot is reducing the traffic burden in Darwin. So with all of the regular, Qantas and Jetstar and stuff flying into Darwin, they're busy. And I think they're almost at maximum capacity with all the other participants up there. So being able to load shed a little bit down here is also helpful for the exercise.